Hello and welcome. I am Stacey Thomas, author, ALS advocate, film producer, and talk show host. I'm here to motivate, educate, and entertain. Join me on YouTube every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Stacey Thomas Talk Show, where we have powerful discussions centered around health, relationship, careers, and everyday conversation. Follow me on Facebook, I am Stacey Thomas, on Instagram, Stacey Thomas Talk Show. And don't forget, I can promote you too. Email me at iamstaceythomas@gmail.com. Now, it's time for the show.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb.
And I'm Stacey Thomas.
And we want to invite you to the Power of Presence Summer Edition that's coming up on Friday, June the 26th, and Saturday, June the 27th. We're coming back to Petersburg, Virginia. We want you guys to be able to join us for not only some great classes, but also for a book fair that's going to be taking place on Saturday, June the 27th. And if you're an author that would like to be a part of it, we do have limited spots available. So make sure you guys contact Stacey to be able to reserve your spot. You can get your spot for the book fair for only $75. We have limited spots that will be there. I will be there signing my books. Stacey will have her books, and we want you guys to be a part of it as well. Again, the Power of Presence, the Summer Edition, coming up on Friday, June the 26th, and Saturday, June the 27th. We hope you all will join us there.
Hey, everybody. Yes, I'm smiling. I'm always smiling. You are joining us on the Stacey Thomas Show, and tonight, before tonight, you probably got a chance to see exactly how excited Stacey has been about her upcoming guest. I ran across this beautiful couple being interviewed by my publicist, and I want to say one thing. They are the authors of Twice the VOWS, Twice the Grace. So not only did I want to speak to them, but I read the synopsis of the book, and I'm going to give you just a little bit before I introduce them. It starts with, I Want a Divorce. Twice the VOWS, Twice the Grace is not just a book. It is an invitation to rediscover the beauty and power of redemption in a marriage when God is finally allowed in the center. I got to tell you, this story right here, it had to be God. Let's bring them on. Hello.
Hi, Stacey.
Hello, Stacey. How are you this wonderful evening?
And let me just say this, it was God.
I'm great. Thank you, Gregory Napier. Thank you, Carolyn Napier, for joining my show, because you know what? Your story is really out there. It's growing. And I had to wonder to myself, will I be able to get this couple on my show? So thank you for blessing my platform, both of you.
Amen. We're happy to be here. I couldn't think of a better place to be than to be right here talking to you, because anybody that's connected with our dear friend Cyrus Webb, which we've had the honor and privilege of meeting in person, he is
great guy.
A wonderful guy, and he's interviewed me twice. Yes. And so I'm excited for your upcoming event that's going on in June in Richmond, Virginia. I like the state of Virginia. I've come there quite a few times. And so Virginia is a wonderful place. One of my first mentors is from Richmond, Virginia.
Really?
Yes, and he lives in Tampa, Florida right now. But he was my first mentor when I first came out online doing what we call network marketing, MLM or whatever you want to call it, multi-level marketing, and that's how I got started with him becoming my mentor.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Because I wanted to ask you too, this book that you've written, and I want people to take a look at it again, Twice the VOWS, Twice the Grace. This book that you two decided to write, I have to say, who came up with the idea first, and were you both okay when you first came up with the idea?
So that's a great question, and actually I was the person who actually came up with the idea of even writing the book, period.
And when that happened and you told Miss Carolyn what you were writing about, what did she say?
she was at first she was a little apprehensive because Carolyn, but for the most part, is a private person, and I live my life out loud. That's why they say opposites attract. Well, Carolyn is never been out front. When she gets started, she goes, but it takes a little push for her. It's not a real big push for me. So to answer your question is I came to her and that wasn't the initial title. It was another title and I can't even remember what it was. And
Something about betrayal.
yes, it was because that was what we wanted to talk about first, because that was the meat of of the book is betrayal, how I betrayed Carolyn. So to the title, I sat down and I said, Carolyn, this sounds like a pretty decent title. Our publicist told us, okay, Greg, that sounds great. Let's do some research and see if a lot of people are using that title. No one was using the title, and it fit perfectly for what we had gone through. The short version of this deal is I started dating Carolyn in 1985. We got married in 88. Carolyn divorced me in 93. We got remarried in 95, and the rest is history. And that's what brought forth twice the vows, twice the grace. Because the first part of the marriage, the first 5 years, there was no God in it.
No God in it.
No God nowhere in it. No, not even a little bit. Even though we got married in a church.
Well,
a big wedding.
You know, it's interesting that how you wanted to tell this story. But I got to tell you, no woman wants her family and friends to know that her husband, that she said loves her very much, has betrayed her. So
said it any better.
For Miss Carolyn, I guess for myself, it's not that I want people to think that my household is perfect, because I will never say that. But for Miss Carolyn, as a woman, did it take you a while to say, you know what? I'm going to let everybody know, not only the neighbors that I have to see every day, but I'm going to let the world know that this man who loved me did me like this.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you something. When we first started talking about writing the book, I said, well, how honest are we really going to be? You know, because people tell stories and then people tell stories.
Yes, ma'am.
So I said, if we're going to write the book, we're going to tell the honest to goodness truth. And he looked at me and he says, okay, let's do it. I said, all right. So, of course, the book is written now, but I'm not going to tell you we didn't have to go through a few rewrites in the process.
Yes.
Because, you know, when you start telling a story, there are things you'll begin to tell that you kind of don't want to tell.
Right.
And I think that the thing that got most of the people, and I know the women who have talked to me since they've read the book, they said, Carolyn, I couldn't have took him back. I said, well, let me be honest with you. I didn't. And they looked at me. I said, Jesus did. And I'm being very honest with you, because when I asked for the divorce, I was through. When I go like this, I meant don't talk to me. I don't care if I ever see you again in life. I'm through. And the issue that a lot of people find when they're reading a book is we worked at the same place.
She actually hired me.
So you divorced him and still had to see him?
Yeah. And what was interesting, after I divorced him, I had an assigned parking spot by the building. When I would come to work in the morning, he'd be sitting on the bench where I parked, waiting to try to talk to me. Now, when I pulled the car into the spot, I would see him. I would get my purse, I'd get my straight face on, and I'd walk right by him.
Well, Mr. Gregory.
Yes, ma'am.
She divorced you, so obviously you did something wrong.
I did something very wrong. Very like extreme. like extremely wrong. Where do you want me to start? I'll start from the beginning and I'll make it real short for the sake of the listeners. So this is what happened. I brought home a baby. By the time Carolyn found out about this child, the child was nearly 5 years of age. Yes. Yes. And how she found out was that because she works in personnel, human resources, she had to serve me the papers of child support orders. And so I denied it until we got to the whole time we were going to court, until the judge says 99.9%, Mr. Napier, you are the father of that child. And I said, okay.
But let me tell this.
Was this the first marriage or the second marriage?
First.
First marriage, okay.
Yeah, let me just say this. When we had the paperwork that said 99.9% that he was the father,
right?
He kept saying, no, sir.
What? You will lie?
And my mind is going 99.9%, and you still saying no? So we're in the courtroom, and the judge says, Mr. Napier, do you accept that you're the father of this baby? And he stood up in military fashion and said, no, sir. So he still did it. And I said to the judge, I said, Your Honor, can I speak to him for a minute? And the judge nodded his head. I pulled him down to me because the mother of the baby is on the other side of the table.
Right.
I leaned him down to me and I said, if you know what I know, you're going to stand up and say you're the father of this baby before they put you underneath this courtroom. And he looks at me and stands up and says, yes, sir. And the judge says, yes, sir, what? He said, yes, sir, I accept. He said, you accept what? He said, that I'm the father of the baby. Judge hit the gavel and they sent us into another room to be with a mediator.
Yep.
But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say, after we met with the mediator and we got outside the courtroom, because all of us are on the same elevator, the mother, Greg and I, and the mediator
leaving the courthouse
in the same elevator. So I'm not saying anything. I'm literally looking at the wall. And when we get downstairs, she goes out and goes to the left. We go to the right. And as soon as she was out of earshot, I said, I'm filing for a divorce.
Right.
Ooh, Miss Carolyn.
I did.
February the 8th.
I was like
10 days before my birthday.
My mind could not wrap around that this man is the father of this kid. The kid is 5 years old.
Right.
And you're still denying him?
Right. Miss Carolyn. First, Tawanda Roberts Parker says you are truly a strong and faith-filled woman. Tay Pratt says this is a must read. Yes, ma'am. Miss Carolyn, I got to ask you something, because on other platforms, I have an associate that we've done some shows with, and we really get deep on the excuses women make to take up for the men that are lying or do wrong. When you love somebody, Miss Carolyn, even though you saw 99%, even though you saw it and you knew what that meant, was there a part of you that still was hoping it was wrong?
No. And I'll tell you why. Because before we actually went to court, we had to go down to the courtroom for him to do the blood test and everything. And when I stepped off the elevator, this cute little boy is running all over the place. And I looked at that little boy and I looked at him and I said, that's your son.
But that baby is now your pride and joy, huh?
He'll be 37 next month on the 23rd.
And you look, most people don't know he's not my birth son.
Correct. And she married him.
You married him.
When he got married to his wife, I performed the wedding ceremony.
Yes.
Miss Carolyn.
She's a gift. She's a gift from God. The way I see it. And I said this more than once.
Mm-hmm.
You know she's a gift from God.
She was a gift from God in the beginning. I just was too stupid to see it, because prior to her finding out about the baby, this is the other piece. Carolyn didn't know how bad I was and how deep I have gone into the abyss of being addicted to drugs and alcohol, because I was, yes,
Really?
I was a drug addict and alcoholic the whole time, and going to work every day. I didn't know that there was a such thing as a functioning drug addict alcoholic. And I was working for the Postal Service. Yes.
Miss
Yes.
Miss Carolyn, how did you not know?
She didn't, because I was
Listen,
very good at what I did.
He really was. He was, I'm gonna use this word, he was an imposter.
Very,
Okay.
very.
And what's interesting, my sister came over, I'd say about 6 months before we got divorced.
Right.
And she said, you know, he a drug dealer. You know, he's a drug addict. And I said, no. And she started going through our house and showing me stuff. And I'm going, I've got to live with this.
And she works in human resources.
Yeah.
As a supervisor of employment and placement.
I started having nightmares that the front page of our newspaper was going to have an article about me being married to this drug dealer.
Oh,
and yeah, I mean, literally, I could barely sleep. But when people read the book, and several of them have talked to me, they said, Carolyn, I don't know how you took him back. I said, I'm going to tell you this. I didn't take him back. God did.
and is that echo? Do you have an extra device on?
I don't have anything on.
We have an echo. Let me see.
We don't have anything on over here. I'll sit back from the microphone if that'll help.
Let's see. I'm not sure.
Is it still echoing?
When I say something, but it's okay.
Okay.
So writing the book, I haven't gotten the book, but I read the synopsis. I've seen some of your videos when you do your podcast, and it feels like you're writing from pain, right? But what truths, Miss Carolyn, and for you, Mr. Gregory, because you're the man that has done these things, and you know this woman loves you. So I know you stuck to the lie about the baby, but I'm just trying to figure out a man here, okay?
Okay.
But you had to have been dealing with something because you expected this woman to give you a second chance. So what truths did you two have to come to realize we got to do this if we're going to make it?
You mean on the second time or the first time? Because the first time, the conversation is not even taking place. Once the baby has been discovered, there is no more conversation about marriage. It's just going through the motions, because Carolyn had already said she wanted to divorce me. So now we're going to go through the motions and get a divorce. So once the divorce is final, until Carolyn had the God encounter, we were already like living our lives. I'm continuing to work at the Postal Service. Here's the interesting part. I've already accepted the fact, and I gotta take my glass off for this, because this is where it gets a little emotional for me, because now I'm tired and I got to do something about my life. There's a child here. I'm divorced, but I still have a job. So I have somewhat of a God encounter, but not to the degree that what she had. A friend of ours saw Carolyn, and he asked, how was Greg? Carolyn says, I don't know. We're divorced. So he gives her the number. This is how I know this is my portion of the God encounter, because when that was his name, when Charles gives Carolyn the number, Carolyn could have easily, we're divorced, she could have threw that away. And I'd have never known that Charles had given her the number. Henceforth, she contacts me and says, "Hey, Charles told me to give you this number. Call him up." Bam, bam, bam. I called Charles. Now I'm still smoking dope like crazy. And even when he's calling me and I got to go to work, on my way to meeting him at the Wendy's, I'm still smoking. I get to the Wendy's. So you can't make this stuff up. This is real stuff. I don't have to make stuff up. So we get there. I get to Wendy's. I see him. Long story short, I don't know he's taking me to the hospital. We get to the hospital. We go in. I'm like, okay. We go up the elevator. We get off. I see two people. One person I recognize who works there that didn't know that they worked there. That I didn't know that they worked there. And then Charles says to me, "Well, no one can make you do anything, Greg." I made a conscious decision that day to stop doing drugs and go into the rehab. So the long story short of this, I'm in rehab. Carolyn is visiting me from time to time in rehab, divorced. She hasn't had her God encounter. So the counselor sees that who this lady is, and he says, "Who is that lady?" I said, "That's my ex-wife." He says, "Hey, if you're here to get off drugs and thinking you're going to get back with her, that may not happen, my friend. But you got to get off this dope, because we've seen countless cases of people who come in here, get off of drugs, get out there, and get back on drugs because they think that something else is going to happen." Long story short, for real, I get out. I never relapse. I've been clean for 31 years straight. And if I never got Carolyn back, is what he told me, "You still got to get off this dope." And I got off that dope and I never looked back. I'm not thinking that Carolyn's going to take me back. And
so
Lord,
let me tell you what the God encounter was for me.
For Carolyn, which was deep.
I was on assignment in another state. And I had been on assignment for 2 months at the time. And I'm in my bedroom at the hotel, and I'm laying there and the moonlight shining into the bedroom, and I feel God's presence enter the room. And then I hear his voice. And he says to me, "Carolyn, where do you say babies come from?" And I said, "Babies are a gift from you, Lord." And he said, "So this baby wasn't from me?" And I said, "But," and when I said "but," he left.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. 2 months later, comes back exactly the same way, asked me the exact same question. "Carolyn, where do you say babies come from?" I said, "Babies are a gift from you, Lord." He said, "Did you ever consider that I chose you for him?" Now, I've been an elder, a bereavement minister. I'm an evangelist. I'm just not a crier. I tell people I believe God raised me just for what I do. And because I'm from a large family, somebody died, somebody was born, somebody died, somebody was born. Just didn't make me cry. And when I broke, I said, "Oh my goodness, God chose me for this child." So I then go back to Columbus, because I would go home every 3 weeks, and I run into him. Go figure.
Would you run into me on Rankin Avenue?
On Rankin Avenue.
She had these jeans on, size 10, that had sit in that closet for years. And I knew they were brand new. She hadn't worn them. And when I seen her with them jeans on, I said, "Carolyn done lost a lot of weight, and she's in them size 10 jeans." And I'm like, "What in the world?" And she's out there flaunting in the middle of the street.
You may have thought it was flaunting.
Well, that's women got their own little way. Anyway,
but long story short, he spoke to me. I spoke back, which was unusual.
yes.
And then was a few weeks later, I run into you at the jazz festival.
Yeah, because I
And
had asked you.
and I got on a mini skirt.
Got on a miniskirt this time.
And
I'm with a female.
He's with a
She
female.
had never seen me with a woman before,
And
ever.
He stands there talking to me, and I look at him. I said, "I think your friend's waiting on you."
I said, "She'll be okay. I'll get back over there."
So me and my sister say, "Well, we're leaving," and we went and got something to eat and went and sat down. We go to an after party and run into him and the girl.
Him and the girl.
The girl he was at the jazz festival.
Now we're divorced. Me and Carolyn are divorced. We're divorced.
And I'm just saying how these things strategically was happening.
It leads up to a lot. It leads up to a lot. So I mean,
yeah, I'm going to go there.
You sure?
So, yeah, I'm going to go to the fact that I called you the next morning.
Thought you was she thought she was slick. She saw me with the girl, so she's thinking in her mind. See, she's laughing now. So she thought, and this is my thought process on it. She called. It was early in the morning, so I answered the phone. And she says, "You don't know who this is." And I'm like, "No, not really. Who is it?" She said, "This is Carolyn." So now I sit up in the bed and I'm like, "Whoa, Carolyn's calling." Then I said to her, "Oh, you thought that girl was here. That's why you calling me." And she just played it off. Then she says, "Well, would you like to talk? You can come over." Little did she know, I had already found out where her and her son were living because they were living together. And I was borderline stalking her. Pretty much.
He was stalking me.
Yes, I was. And so it ended up like this. I go over there, we're talking, blah, blah, blah. And then one thing led to another. And then she says, "Well, if we're gonna do this, you're gonna have to court me. It's not gonna be like before, blah, blah,
Make
blah."
Make it clear, I said there will be no sex.
There will be no sex. None.
Period. There will be no sex.
None.
I said, you're gonna have to court me.
Right.
And I said for a year.
Yeah, and it was a whole year.
For a year?
Yes. Yes.
No sex?
Yes. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. In the same room, because I would go visit her when she was on assignment in the hotel in Pittsburgh, and she says, "Well, you can sleep in this room on the couch right here, but don't get no ideas. There's nothing happening." So my mind was like, okay, if I got this far and this is what I have to do, all I got to do is do the right thing.
Pastor Gregory.
And I wasn't going to nobody's church. I wasn't reading nobody's Bible. Remember, we got back together in 95, December 27th. I didn't give my life to Christ until March of 99.
You loved Miss Carolyn. And
absolutely. I told God, if you give me another chance, now I'm calling on God and I ain't going to no church. That's why when people talk to me about anything other than Jesus, they didn't came too late. Because I know what God did. I know what he'll continue to do. And I ain't going to turn this into no sermon. But I just know that's why I knew that this was real, because God don't make no mistakes.
Well, I got a funny thing to tell you. I went to my mother and told my mother,
"Oh, yes,
that Greg and I were going to get remarried."
Ooh,
and my mother looks at me and says, "I don't chew my meat twice."
Ooh.
And now you can tell by the way I talk, I was raised, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, that kind of thing. And I said, "Mom, this is not between you, me, and Greg. This is between me, Greg, and God." And my mother goes,
and here we are.
She actually was one of the witnesses when we got remarried.
Absolutely. There was no wedding. We just went down to the courthouse. We didn't have to do we went on our merry way. We're doing wonderful. And one day I just had a talk with the Lord, and I said, "Lord, we keep watching these marriages failing year after year in the body of Christ. I was inside of our own church that we were attending. And I couldn't understand, how is it that you say you love Jesus who you ain't never seen, but you're gonna get a divorce from this person, but you a leader in the church, and you giving me these excuses of why you getting divorced. Why? What? There's the only way that you getting a divorce is you didn't disconnected yourself from God. Now, some of the theologians are probably going to disagree with me, and that's okay. But here's what I know: God ain't disagreeing with me because He gave me this assignment to pass on to Carolyn. This ain't something I just thought up out of the blue and said, "Well, I'm gonna write a book and this and that." No.
Well, even so, at the time when we remarried, did I think you were end up being a pastor?
I didn't.
Well,
Neither one of us.
I don't know why I'm echoing. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you like crystal clear.
Okay, so I know God can fix marriages. I know God can do more than what we can imagine. But I also believe, Pastor, that sometimes our marriages are not meant to be fixed because we don't wait for God to send us the right person.
There it is.
That's true.
Sometimes people, and this is, oh my goodness, this is a different probably we're gonna have to do another show.
We will.
This is just my personal opinion. It's just like every pastor ain't been called.
Ooh,
every marriage
will make me run around this room.
When you don't wait for who God has for you, when you think you know, I gotta say, Pastor, that marriage becomes very uncomfortable because that ain't who God meant for you to be with.
That is not who He meant for you to be with.
In that situation right there, Stacey, you are 100% correct. Because here's how I know that this is how I'm gonna tell you how I know for a fact that this is God ordained as far as Carolyn and I.
Yes,
because when I was a heathen, before the baby was even produced, I came home one day and I calling out to the Lord drunk. And I said, Lord, I need you to send me somebody.
Ooh.
Now I'm a heathen, I ain't going to nobody's church. But I knew I knew once I got saved and I started reading the Bible, I started going to that portion where he says he will give you the desires of your heart. And I said, ooh. So I started reflecting back on all the conversations that I was attempting to have with God when I wasn't even saved. And and all of them got answers. So to your question, you're right. Because I was called to do this. If it was up to me, I wouldn't have never done it. Meaning the preaching part. I wouldn't have never did this.
So
preaching called me. I didn't call preaching.
So as a pastor, and you have couples in church, and someone says, I keep praying, the more I pray, the further we go apart. As a pastor, will you say when maybe this isn't going to work? Or will you continue to tell them to pray? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Pastor.
I would say you have to check your heart and what are you really praying for? And has God really spoke to you for real? And you can say I'm praying, but has the Holy Spirit really, because God is no respecter of person. And so He's going to come in and you have to be honest with yourself. And so if you're being honest with yourself, because you don't have to continue to keep praying over and over and over, because God told Daniel, I heard you the first time you prayed to me.
That's right.
God told Daniel, I heard you the first time. You don't have, see, I call it begging praying. Because you done already prayed. God already knows your heart. He knew what you was thinking and going to say before you said it. So when you say, well, Pastor, I continue to keep praying and this just ain't, then I say, sir or ma'am, let's look at what are you doing to work on yourself? You're asking, what have you done for God? So you're praying for God to help you in this. What are you doing for God? So you praying to help you in this marriage. But what are you? Why aren't you praying for God to help you with you? Because there's something going. Because you can say that you want this marriage to work, But God is waiting on you because you have to become a servant. This relationship got to be good right here.
Before
you praying, yeah, before this is even going to happen, this got to happen. So I would say to the man or the woman, listen, continue to keep working on you. Don't keep praying the same prayer. Talking about, well, I'm praying and ain't that. God is not a pixie dust. He's not a genie in a bottle. He ain't wishing. He's like, I know. And he's going to have that, because if he had the same answer to me when I was a heathen and I didn't even know what the Holy Spirit was, and now I know what the Holy Spirit is, and he came and told me that when I went down in that water in 99 and I came up, he said, hey, thank you. He was thanking me. And I was like, whoa, God is thanking me.
What's interesting, when I'll never forget the day he got baptized. The church was packed.
Because they wanted to come and see this heathen for real. All my siblings were saved before me. My mama, everybody. Everybody was saved before. They was all going to church. Everybody was, all of that. I was out there. I was the black sheep for real. Like, for real. I ain't unique. I did everything I thought I was big enough to do. And I was unapologetic about it. That's the reason why I'm unapologetic about serving God. So when you come to me with that, well, Pastor, I'm praying and it just don't seem like it's working. Marriage works. If it didn't work, God wouldn't have never set it up. He created it for it to work. And the first violators was Adam and Eve. They violated.
Pastor Gregory.
Yes.
We're gonna have to do this again.
You're right. I see. Because I'm starting to get in and I know this, and I was telling myself as I was coming on, and that I love Jesus with
I do
all
too.
my heart.
I do too.
Love Jesus more than I love Carolyn.
I understand.
Literally.
We have Tay says, choose your words wisely when you're praying. Also, I definitely understand what he's saying. Cyrus Webb, one of the goats, says this has been a great show, Stacy, and the Napier story is definitely going to help others. I'm sorry that we have to cut this short because we do want this to be on the radio. I want to show the book again, and I want each of you. Well, first, let me say I love your honesty. I love talking to you both. I look forward to talking to you both again. But for the people that are watching, I have your website. Let's put your website back up. I have your website up. And I'd like for each of you to tell people they've heard your story. Pastor, Miss Carolyn, what is it that you want people to get from reading your story? We've learned a lot just listening to you right now. But once they get the book, what do you want them to get from it?
To be transparent. Learn the art of transparency. It will save your relationship with yourself and your marriage. Transparency.
Okay, for me, serving one another.
Serving one another.
People don't understand. As a husband and a wife, you need to serve each other. And this is going to ruffle some feathers. But your husband comes before your children.
Ouch.
You know what? It doesn't ruffle this feather because I often wonder, people, that's okay. Okay.
Thank you, Stacy. I am Stacy. We love you. Well, and we've never met, and I want people to know that. I met her through some really strange circumstances, but I trust in my friend Cyrus Webb, and so once he told me, "Hey, I'm gonna connect you with this person. Her name is Stacy." Hey, I said, "Okay." My mind was, I trust Cyrus, so I'm going with that. So we're still looking forward to coming to. We're gonna talk about it, but it looks like we probably leaning. We're gonna make arrangements so we can come down to Virginia in June and just chop it up and have some fun. So God bless each and every one of you. If you haven't tuned into this radio station, I know I'm giving a commercial break here, but tune in to I Am Stacy. She's a wonderful person, and I love her, and I have never met her.
Can I say one more
And
thing?
No, you can't say nothing.
Marriage works. You gotta work at it.
Yes, ma'am. I'm thankful for everything you said. And I'm going to say this, and some people may not agree with me, but I've heard lovers say this, and I've heard other people say this. When you go to church, you see more women than you see men. It is a blessing, Miss Carolyn, to have you both on my platform and to see the love between you two. It is a blessing, and I don't have to tell you this, to have that man that loves God as much as you do. Thank you for giving us a great example of what marriage should be.
We look forward to seeing you personally.
Thank you.
How do people follow you? We got your website. Should they follow you on Facebook?
Yes, just follow me up, but just look my name, or you can go to Married with a Purpose. We have a page that's Married with a Purpose, or you can just follow me on my personal page. My wife is not the social media butterfly. Greg is the social media butterfly. I'm working with her. She's a work in progress. But you can follow us on Married with a Purpose on Facebook, or you can follow us at my name, Gregory Napier. You'll see us together in the profile picture, and that's it.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody that's been watching, and to those who will listen to us on 94.1 WYAD. Until next time, beautiful couple, take care of yourself, and I'll be following you online. Thank you.
Be blessed.
Bye-bye.
Be blessed, both of you. Okay, another great show, right? So you can follow them on Facebook. It's Gregory Napier, Carolyn Napier, and then I have the website, Why Your Marriage Isn't Growing. What better way to work on things or have someone give you advice than to have someone who have already experienced what you may be going through. Nothing's wrong with therapists, but for me, I want to talk to you if you've walked in my shoes or walked in some similar shoes. As I always say, don't stress too much about yesterday. Don't worry too much about tomorrow, because if we do, we just might miss living today. Have a good one. I am Stacy Thomas.